Oh. No, not really. But hi, James.
Hey, Jess.
I was trying to think of a Disney jingle just then, and I just came up with like Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho.
How are you, James?
Good. How are you? How was your week?
My week was good. We're out of lockdown now. It was weird. Like yesterday, I went and dropped my friend Jen. Hi, Jen, if you're listening.
Hey, Jen.
She's my work colleague, and I went to drop
know
her.
Jen.
Oh no, this is another Jen. This Jen you didn't meet. She was in Tasmania.
Okay, no, I didn't meet her then.
No, she's lovely.
Oh, hey, Jen. I'll meet you soon.
And she lives off Chapel Street. So the day of lockdown ended. So, yeah, it was like the night before it ended. So that day after work, I went to drop her off. And Chapel Street was packed. Every restaurant had a line. It was packed to the brim. They were either on the street and like crossing when they're not supposed to be crossing and everything. I was like, wow. And my friend was like, it's so weird because I walked here like yesterday when we were in lockdown and it was dead.
Yeah. I don't blame people though. Like, hey, we need some socialization.
Yeah, 100%.
And just support those cafes and those restaurants. Yeah. All about it.
I can't even imagine buying so much produce and then all of a sudden hearing that you're in a lockdown.
Yeah,
so unexpected. Yeah. My heart really does go out to them. Like, and this is just like, I can only imagine what's happening around the world, to be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. It's just crazy time.
Crazy time.
What about you, James? Have you been out and about? Going out every night?
No, I haven't. I've been at home.
Oh, what?
Just having ice cream and eating chocolate and watching TV shows, reality TV shows, and just enjoying chocolate and ice cream and TV.
And your couch. I can imagine you laid
Yeah, I was. Yeah. You know me too well. I've been laying on my couch with a blanket, eating ice cream out of the tub, connoisseur, choc mint, obviously, and Bueno, Kinder Bueno.
Oh, yeah.
Really delish.
Oh my goodness.
Just ripping open those packets and just shoving them down my mouth.
Well, at least someone's shoving something down their mouth.
Good old chocolate.
Did you finish your TV show? What was it called?
What TV show?
I don't know, that one, you showed me one episode, how it was like, I don't know, Gossip Girl, but 10 times worse.
Elite?
Yeah.
Elite, sorry.
Elite.
Yeah. The Spanish one, yeah?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's so good, hey?
How many seasons are there?
4.
4. And what's it about for the people that don't know?
It's basically about teen drama, like a school collapses in Madrid and then the 3 kids get a scholarship to go to the private rich school, and then they're trying to obviously assimilate to the new school, get along with the kids, and then there's obviously tensions between the builder of the school that caused the building to collapse was the father of 2 of the main characters in the school in the same class, and then just think Spanish drama, teen drama, over the top. That's what Elite is.
And it's right up your alley, isn't it?
Yeah,
this one.
It's really good. I've already watched all of it. I finished that.
That's good.
Season 4 came out a while ago, so I just basically binge-watched it and like all up to date. So I've just been watching a lot of reality TV shows lately, so a lot of Making the Cut.
Oh, yeah?
I love that. If anyone knows, it's Heidi Klum and Tim. And they basically pick fashion designers from around the world and they compete to try and win $1 million. Oh
my goodness, James. You're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you.
Sometimes you need a bit of suspense.
Like, the reason I like that one is it's just cool. You get to see, obviously, them creating. I just kind of like shows where people are creating, whether it be food. I don't know, just something creative. I like those types of reality shows. But I also like Sewing Sunset. Oh, have you seen
goodness, that? Yes. You showed me that when it just started and it's now
taken
off.
I remember. We binged that. That was cute.
It. That's so good.
It was fun. I know, it's a kind of a nothing show, that one. Like, you get, 10 seconds of beautiful house and then just stupid drama.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's entertaining.
It's one of a kind. I don't think that's ever been done before.
Yeah. I also watched Luxury Real Estate Sydney.
Oh, yeah.
That's on Prime as well. That's really good. Mm-hmm. It's like $45 million houses, over the top. Really funny. The girl out of that reminds me of you.
What? What do you mean?
You should watch it.
What's her name?
I can't remember.
Nice.
But she's just like a really successful businesswoman and just got a really strong sense of morality, like morals, and knows who she is and just really stands up for people and does the right thing.
What show is this again?
That's why she reminds me of you.
Oh, thank you, James.
No, so it's called Lux Listings or Lux Real Estate. It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Prime Video, yeah.
There's so many shows, I want to start...
Everywhere? Yeah.
What was the Umbrella Academy? I said this in, the last podcast. I still haven't done
I think you did.
Yeah, I haven't done anything about it. I'm going through a Harry Potter marathon right now.
Yeah.
So, and it's quite interesting, rewatching it. I say this every time, but I don't know. There's something about just sitting there and just watching the entire thing of Harry Potter.
Ah, yeah, you started that? A lot of people are doing that because it's on Netflix now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yes, and the funny thing is, I have all the DVDs, who doesn't? But it's more accessible on, Netflix or something to just
put on. Totally.
But yeah, I'm up to 5 right now. And right at the end of 5. But I was struggling, and my favorite growing up was number 4 and number 1. Because number 1 is where, you fall in love with Harry Potter. And I was struggling through the first one. And then as soon as, it got dark in the second, I'm like, yes.
My favorite was number 3, The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, that is a good one.
And number 5, The Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
But I also like number 4 as well, because that's when the people come from the other schools, yeah?
Yeah, and I like how they compete. Yeah. And there's
what's that guy's name? Cedric Diggory?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's cool.
He's cool. And then he died and became a vampire,
Yeah.
Oh, but spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Okay. Should we get into, the topic?
Yeah, definitely. No, that was a good chat, as always.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you want to introduce the topic, James?
I'll leave it to you. You're the expert.
So we decided, because if you know me well, I'm pretty much a Disney fanatic. It's
No, you're not.
I love a good happy ending. I love the artwork, especially in
not that
Sleeping
type
Beauty.
of happy ending.
Lol, James, no. But yeah, I like to go. I go to Disneyland every once in a while. Pre-COVID. Of course.
You do. I've never been.
Jesus, I'll share this story. I remember I was working at a pizza shop just down the road from me, and I worked for a solid year, almost 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week, to pay for a holiday to go to bloody Disneyland in Los Angeles. And I got there, I saved up my money, and I got there to Disneyland, and I remember the taxi guy picked me up from the hotel and took me, and it was a taxi van, And then I saw the entrance of Disneyland, and I went to get out of the van, and I fell over. I completely missed the step, and the taxi guy caught me, and I was just like, dude, this is Disneyland. Like, I couldn't, like, believe. I had tears in my eyes, like, when I was going through the gate. I'm like, what a loser, but it was such a moment for me. You should go, James. I can see you going crazy and eating all the food and going on all the rides.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm very, like... I guess I could, yeah. Actually, I probably would embrace it once I was there, but it wouldn't be a place, like, I'd go by myself. Does that make sense?
No, well... You would need to like, have some.
Yeah,
company,
I would
right?
need like you being like, we're going to Disneyland. I'd be like, oh, okay. And then I'd be like, I love Disneyland. And then every other time I'd be like, oh, we're going to Disneyland. Like, okay, James, calm down.
No, I kind of like, it's funny because before you get to the gate, which it has massive lines, you there's the gift shop. And you're like, oh, do I want to go on the rides and actually experience Disneyland, or I want to go to the gift shop? Well, I end up going to the gift shop, and then I have to carry all the shit that I buy, like, around the theme park. But it's like, when you go to the gift shop, it's just everywhere. Everything you can possibly imagine in Disney form. But I can imagine
so
you
excited.
there.
I can imagine.
Oh my God. I've got, like, I'm wearing a hat. So for people that are watching us on YouTube, I got so excited I went to throw the hat, like. But anyways, this topic that we're doing, I decided...
back to the topic.
To go a bit dark. Like, I don't know if a lot of people know, but you got, Hans Christian Andersen, the Grimm brothers, plenty of other people that had created these stories that were adapted by Disney. And, you know, when you read into the real truth and the real origins of the stories, they're pretty damn dark. So this podcast is about the real and horrifying stories behind the classic Disney tales that we all know and love. So, James, you have a few. More. You tell me more. You have a couple. Do you want to tell the first story? Yeah, I do have a couple,
but you start us off. I'm in a little school kid sitting on the floor looking up at, like, my teacher. About telling a story.
So this is going to be probably, I don't know, R-rated. No, I don't think so. It's definitely not G-rated. I can tell you that much. So for kids that are listening, don't listen, all right? But the first one I have, Dark Disney, is Pinocchio. And as the story goes, we all know that puppet that lies when, and their nose grows, right? And he goes through many challenges in his life. That's the story, like, in a nutshell, that we know from Disney. So when we visualize Pinocchio, they see the sweet young puppet with a desire to be a real boy, and Disney movie tells the tale of his adventures with his friend and advisor, Jiminy Cricket, and how they ultimately lead him to his dream of becoming a human. Well, the original story of Pinocchio, the creator was Carlo Collodi, was hoping for a different image, right? And Collodi created the character for a serial story in Italian newspapers with the goal of showing kids the consequences of being bad. So Collodi's, probably butchering the name, but sorry Italians, Collodi's Pinocchio was cruel and mischievous, and Jiminy Cricket was only referred to as, like, talking cricket, apparently. So apparently in the story, Jiminy Cricket was just like, oh, you're just talking cricket, if that makes sense. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. And when the cricket tried to give Pinocchio some good advice, the puppet boy killed himself with a mullet. Yes.
What?
And then Pinocchio is constantly tortured in different ways throughout the story, all punishment for bad behavior. And Collodi initially ended the tale with Pinocchio's death by hanging, but because of an outcry from the fans, Collodi was forced to continue. And so he continued the story. And so he decided Pinocchio's life would be spared in exchange for even more gruesome punishments from the point forward, apparently. From that point forward. So he ended his life by hanging him, and then people had an uproar, and then he just continued with gruesome punishments. And
Wow.
there's a really gruesome image here of just like this puppet just hanging off a tree. Like, no wonder they changed the story, because it's too dark.
Yeah.
I don't know what year this was. Maybe 19th century? 1914? Oh, that's an illustration of the image. But around there or before it, who knows?
Yeah.
But that's freaky, isn't it? Because we know it to be like a happy little musical.
Yeah.
Little do we know, boom.
Yeah.
What about you, James? Do you have one to tell?
Yeah, I've got one for us all. Obviously, we all know the Disney movie, The Little Mermaid.
Oh, yeah.
So the Little Mermaid trades her voice for legs in order to win the prince's heart and live happily ever after. So goes Disney's rendition of this tale. However, in the original, the mermaid's penalty for failing to win the prince's heart is actually death. So, a bit dark.
Oh my gosh, okay.
So, the original was by Hans Christian Andersen. So, it's not as cheery as what Disney made it out to be. While the trade with the sea witch still occurs, the penalty for failure isn't just turning back into a mermaid. It's actually death. Every step she makes, she basically takes the journey and makes her feel like, you know, she's walking on daggers, but still she dances for the prince and soon becomes his favourite companion. So a happy ever after, you would think, but however, that's not exactly what happens in the original tale. The prince ends up marrying another girl who he mistakenly believes was the one to save him from the shipwreck. Before the mermaid faces her death penalty, though, her sisters sell her hair, like they cut off her hair and sell it to buy her a dagger. And if she kills the prince, his dripping blood will cause her feet to become fins again. And she can go on, you know, back and escape, basically swim away. But in the end, she can't bring herself to do it. And she jumps off the ship. Jumps off the ship where the wedding was held and turns into sea foam. And that's the end.
What the hell, man? Why is there always blood and sadness?
I don't know, right? I've got another one.
Yeah, go.
Sleeping Beauty. Pretty creepy, hey?
No!
Disney's princess is cursed by the dark fairy Magnificent to die after pricking her finger on a spinning wheel, but a blessing from a fairy, a good fairy, causes her to fall asleep into a deep sleep until she is wakened by true love's kiss. But the original story from 1634, Sun, Moon and Talia, by Gibber Basile, sees the princess prick her finger with a splinter of poisonous flax and place her in one of her father's estates. But that's pretty much where the similarities end. A king who happens to fall across the estate wanders in and finds the princess' sleeping body, fails to wake her, and then proceeds to rape her. And if that's not bad enough, the princess later gives birth to twins while she's still unconscious, one of whom sucks the splinter out of her finger and wakes her up. The princess ends up marrying the king, who burns his first wife alive so they can be together. But not before the wife tries to kill and serve the baby twins for the king to eat.
Lovely. Very enchanting.
And that is the real story of Sleeping Beauty.
Ew.
Disney made it very timid, didn't they?
Did you say Wait, what happened to her when she was sleeping?
She gets raped.
Yeah, that's right. I heard back in the day, this was like years ago, she got raped by her uncle.
No, in this story, the king finds across her body and rapes her.
No, there's like different variations of this one. I think throughout Europe.
Well, you tell me your variation.
No, that's about it. Like, it's the same thing, but she got raped by her uncle because her uncle was obsessed with her and then drugged her and then raped her. And then she falls pregnant and has his children.
Well, maybe that's the same thing.
Insane.
Sounds like the same thing, except he's not a king.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, we'll just make him a king. Makes it sound better.
Yeah, make him a king. It's not as bad.
Yeah.
Even though he burns his first wife alive because she wants to obviously live and not be killed by him and wants to kill his baby twins and feed them to him.
God, ill. Disgusting. Ugh. I've got Snow White for you.
Oh, yeah. The German fairy tale.
That's the one. So it was originally called, apparently, Snow White and the Witch. Apparently.
Ooh.
And Snow White still gets her happily ever after in the original Brothers Grimm fairy tale. After the evil queen failed 2 attempts to personally kill Snow White, she finally decided to try out the poison apple. It seemed to work, but then the prince swooped in with his true love's first kiss to save her, right? And in the end, for this dark Disney story, Snow White and the prince are still married. However, the evil queen is at the wedding, and her punishment is that she has to dance around in iron-hot shoes, burning her feet until she dies. Even princesses get that sort of a revenge, it would seem. That's what happens after.
Wow.
But all we know is that he picks her up and puts her on the horse, and then they just ride off into the sunset. What else can I tell you? The Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Yeah.
So The Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of Disney's darkest films. Like the novel, it's based off the movie about a hunchback named Quasimodo, who grew up in the Notre Dame Cathedral, raised by someone called Frollo. Quasimodo and Frollo both fell in love with the same woman, Esmeralda, and at the end of the film, Quasimodo pushes Frollo, the villain, off the roof of the cathedral, killing him. Now, already uncharacteristically morbid for Disney, but the original novel by Victor Hugo, Les Miserables, what is it? Les Miserables.
Les Miserables.
That's the one. Has an even worse ending by the protagonists. In Hugo's story, Frollo framed Esmeralda for attempted murder, and she was sentenced to be hanged. Quasimodo still pushes Frollo off a roof, but it was because Frollo was laughing at Esmeralda's hanging. Quasi then goes to Esmeralda's grave and refuses to leave her, so he ultimately dies of starvation there. Hugo's book did not end happily for anyone, it would seem.
Wow, that's really dark.
That's interesting, isn't it? It's like, I love her and I'm not going to leave her, and then I die.
Oh my god.
It's so sad.
Yeah. Do you have any more?
I've got Bambi. I mean, that's pretty depressing as it is, but basically, with Bambi, it was called Bambi, A Life in the Woods, apparently, a novel following a deer through his life growing up in the woods. That's what we know. Though Disney took this adult novel and turned it into a heartwarming Disney movie, the book touches on the circle of life, survival, man versus nature, etc. So the book is also very violent. On Bambi's first walk into the woods, he witnessed a moose getting killed and... a mouse gets killed and heard creatures threatening each other with death. Later, after a hunter shoots Bambi and another deer, apparently someone called the Great/Old Prince teaches him to walk in circles and spread the blood so that the hunter gets confused. And the great prince also showed Bambi the body of the dead hunter at the end of the story to prove that man is not all powerful. Huh?
Wow.
There's quite a bit, isn't it? You would have thought. These little things that they've edited out for Disney, like. God damn. Do you have any more?
Well, I have like an original story.
Yeah, go for it.
So this is another one by Hans Christian Andersen, who obviously was very good at fairy tales and writing dark stories.
Mm-hmm.
So the fairy tale is like known as one of the sad ones and explains that like the lengths that a mother will go to for the life of her child.
Okay.
It was first published in December 1847. The mother is looking after her very sick child and closes her eyes for a moment after not sleeping for days, just trying to, look after it. And then in these moments, Death disguises himself as an old man and he takes the child away. An old woman tells her that Death has been with her and never brings back what he has taken away. The old woman then bribes the mother, telling her that she'll only reveal which way Death went if she sings the lullabies she sings to her child. The mother then embarks on an awful journey of pain and sacrifice to find Death and her child, including holding a bramble bush that pierces her flesh, weeping away her eyes into a lake that creates pearls, and swapping her long black hair for old grey hair. She finally catches up with Death in his hot house, only to be told that he's only doing God's work, and if her child was to survive, would live a life of poverty, misery, and woe. She allows Death to carry away her child. That's the end of the little story, is that Death convinces her that her child would have lived a life of poverty, misery, and woe, and that he basically did her a favour. So she lets him take her child.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
How sad.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I remember in school learning about the little match girl.
Yeah.
And just how, like, it's the poor little girl that, needs she has, like, matches in order to keep herself warm. And it shows, like, the way that they explain it in the story is how she dies and goes to heaven. Very morbid, isn't it? Like, back in the day, these stories.
Yeah. Have you heard of Babes in the Woods?
Yeah, go for it. No, I haven't.
So it's about death, abandonment, murder, and starvation. So it has everything. It tells the tale of two young children who are orphaned. When their parents fall down with a sickness, they are left to their uncle with only the promise of a sum of money when they come of age. However, the uncle is greedy and wants the money all for himself, so he pays two men to get rid of the children. While in the woods, the men argue and fight, and the two babes witness one man get murdered. The remaining guy, not having the guts to fulfill his task, then abandons them in the woods and leaves them to perish. No one finds them, so the robins cover their bodies with leaves. And that's the end of the story. He doesn't have the guts to kill them, so he just leaves them to die.
Oh my gosh. It's kind of like how the hunter leaves Snow White in the woods. Yeah. Oh no, he lets her go. Wait a minute. How crazy, isn't it? Are there any happy ones? It's like some of them that are happy end up becoming dark.
Yeah.
Interesting. I kind of like the Disney ones. But I kind of like these two.
I kind of like the dark ones. It's like very grim. It's like, okay, this is the worst possible scenario for your life.
Yeah.
And then everything else is good.
It's kind of like it's trying to give you a message, but in the like darkest way.
Yeah. Have you heard of the juniper tree?
No, go.
So the juniper tree is like a German fairy tale that was collected by the Grimm brothers.
Ooh.
So this story starts out with a happy couple unable to conceive like many fairy tales, and then takes various turns that will have you shocked at every turn, every corner possible. When a couple eventually do have a child, the mother is so happy that she dies. She's buried under the juniper tree. The husband remarries later and has a second child, a daughter. The new wife is extremely jealous of the son's beauty, so she plots his death. She tricks him into opening a chest with the promise of apples, then chops his head off as he peers in. The woman then forces her daughter to help prepare and cook him for her husband's dinner. The daughter cries so much that the stew doesn't need any salt. When the father returns home, he enjoys the stew so much he eats it all, and the distraught daughter then buries his bones under the juniper tree. The boy is then brought back to life as a bird and sings over and over to the woman, driving her to insanity. And when she runs out of the house, he drops a millstone on her and kills her, leaving only smoke, flames, and fire.
Da, da, da.
At least this kind of he gets a revenge as a bird.
It's something better than nothing.
She got what was coming to her.
She got what was coming to her. Don't you forget it.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, that's 30 minutes. Done and dusted. That flew by. It always does.
That always goes so quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, at the start I'm just like, oh, okay, here we go, half an hour. And then it goes boom.
Boom.
Yeah. But thank you, James. I loved your stories.
Thank you. I loved yours too.
Oh, thank you. And like, subscribe, message us if you need. Tell us what you want to hear. We'd love to hear from you. See you later.
Yeah. Bye.